right, we are live, and we're going to wait for people to show up in here, because that will be fun. And I have my monster, and I'm talking to myself, because I just got off a flight from Turkey, and boy are my arms tired. Okay. Am I quiet? Do I have to turn the mic up? I don't know how to do that. Wait, the mic's all the way up. Can you not hear me? I hate being unshaven. Thank you. This message is held for review. I'll just turn my volume up. Yeah. Good work, Einstein. Good Lord. Yeah, I talk a lot about Cody on tonight's episode of Nightshade. Thoughts on Slavoj Zizek? I only know one thing about him. Someone showed me this video of him talking about toilets and how different Europeans have different toilets, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. Apparently some people hate him. I don't know anything else about him. Why do I have facial hair? Because I am still all sorts of fucked up because of my trip. I took a nap. I woke up at like 8 this morning, like ungodly hour, where people, as if I was going to work. I was wide awake though. I got lunch, did this, did that, threw some shade on Twitter as I'm wont to do. Took a nap. Did not set an alarm, because why would I? It's a nap. And I woke up just in time to go tape Nightshade, and then I came back, so I have not shaved, and I feel pretty gross. But on the other hand, I do have my monster, and this is not the one that has the anarchist thing on it. You want me to have Pinochet on the podcast? I actually got Hans-Hermann Hoppe, which is as close as it's going to get. And here are some of the things that we talk about with Hoppe on the podcast. I asked him about, I got him to tell me a joke. I asked him if a hot dog is a sandwich. I asked him what he's like as a dad. I talked to him, asked him if he's a racist. I talked to him about working with Rothbard. If he's aware of his memes, if he sees himself as standoffish and intimidating. So yeah, it was a very fun interview. It's only 45 minutes only. That's still plenty. I kept thinking he was, because he didn't want to do it. He's done with doing interviews, so I kept not trying to push my luck. So it was a lot of fun. So okay, I'll put Cody Wilson in the title too, because that's what everyone's asking me about. And Cody Wilson. Okay. I guess I should call that episode On the Chopper. I actually, one of the chapter titles in the new Wright book was originally called Foreign Affairs, which is stupid. I didn't even think of, it was just like a placeholder title. So I did change it to Get in the Chopper. That's going to be the chapter title for the chapter about international views of the new right from an American perspective. I don't know if I should talk about Cody or this Turkey trip, because this Turkey trip was a lot of fun, and it was really amazing. Yeah, I talk basically. If you look at my Twitter and my Facebook, I had asked Cody about the situation. No one put a gun to his head. It seems clear that he did what they accused him of doing. At the same time, I also say this on Nightshade, excuse me, that if I were him, I would have been paranoid that I was being under surveillance, and regardless of her age, I would have assumed this was a setup, 100%. So I don't think I'm gonna grow a beard because I already look too much like a leprechaun or a dwarf. So I'm sticking to the elf thing. Um, so yeah, the nightshade jeans. I'm not getting the nightshade jeans, but I'm gonna have the nightshade jean makers on my welcome at a forthcoming date. Next Tuesday, by popular demand, I am going to have on Nightshade, on your welcome. I'm really fucked up. I'm more fucked up than I realized. I am going to have Owen Benjamin. So that is going to be a blast. The Hop episode's not going to drop for like 4 weeks because I've got such solid guests lined up. I have Owen Benjamin, Kurt Schlichter, and then Hoppa. So October 9th is when the Hoppa episode is going to drop it like it's Hoppa. So those three are like rock solid, and then I think I'm gonna have Gorka after that. Uh, no, then I have Sargon on the 16th. I'm gonna try to get Marion Smith, who's the head of the Museum of Communism, and then maybe Gorka for like the 30th. So I mean, these are solid names, and I'm really excited about all of them. I was excited about this. When you have Sargon of Akkad on You're Welcome, you have to bring up his feud with Mr. Medeker. 100% I'll do that, and make sure you like tweet me that morning to remind me. But I'll of course do that, or mention that in the chat room. Easy. I'll do, okay, definitely, like especially in the Facebook group. Tell me what I should ask Sargon about. I'll totally ask him about it. I'm you know. Yeah, I don't really know that much about Sargon, to be honest. So I look forward to any questions you guys want to feed me. I'm going to be perfectly fine with it. So let me talk about. I don't know what to talk about first, and I know it'll help me answer this question. Monster. So here are my tips on travel. By the way, I haven't. Um, I haven't. It's Getting to Turkey from New York was. It's like an 11-hour flight to Istanbul, and then it was like a 1-hour flight to Bodrum. My flight was delayed for 40 minutes in New York, so that means I missed my connection in Istanbul. There was no Wi-Fi anywhere. Here's how the Wi-Fi works in the Istanbul airport. They'll say it's free Wi-Fi. We will text you a code to enter it. Well, you're not getting the fucking text, are ya? So thank the girl downstairs. There was a Starbucks there, and I got onto Wi-Fi and I let them know that I'm coming late, so on and so forth. I was speaking at Hans-Hermann Hoppe's Property and Freedom Society, which I knew would be like a very Dynasty, like the show Dynasty, international, men of intrigue. It was a lot of fun. It was cool meeting all these people. I was probably other than Hoppe, the biggest name there. I spent the entirety of my time with Stefan Kinsella, I adore him, especially after hanging out with him so much. He is first of all, has a very big heart, great sense of humor, really fun, really funny, has a goofy side, just a great guy. Like, I can't say enough good things about him, and I was busting his balls the entire time, and he was loving it. And that's how I appreciate that, when someone has a good sense of humor about themselves. Joan Collins was not there. Okay, Joan Collins was on the plane. So Joan Collins, who is like might be the best thing about the 80s, who has the same personality as my mom, basically. And in fact, my mom in my phone has a picture of Joan Collins. I'm on the flight and I'm watching. I can't believe she's back on television. She's on American Horror Story Apocalypse. So I'm watching it, and they're totally playing her to type. They're giving her all the funny lines. She's knocking it out of the park. She's even better as a comedic actress than she was as a dramatic actress. She's not a good dramatic actress, but she's playing this like basically herself. So it's really really funny, and she totally knows how to do that correctly. As I'm watching this, and I stopped watching American Horror Story after Coven, I felt that every season had gotten exponentially worse. The first one was amazing. Then the second one was excellent. Then it was decent. Then it was like, this is, by the end, I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I'm watching it about apocalypse, and there's this burning smell in the plane. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'm sure it's fine. Then everyone starts standing up, and then all the stewardesses start opening and closing overhead bins frantically. And I'm like, this, if they're freaking out, this is bad. They said it was some kind of a thing about changing the temperature in the plane, and I've had something like that happen once before, where there was like this musty smell, and that's because like the AC, whatever, blah blah blah, and they have to air it out. But it was definitely the most alarmed I've been in a very very long time, and I thought to myself, okay, if I'm going out watching Joan Collins on Apocalypse, that's fine. That's going to be as good as it's going to get as a way to go out. Um, Land in Turkey. So my trick for long flights, and this made it easy. I had an entire season of a show I like to watch. In this case, it was Gotham, which is not excellent. Then, like a few episodes of many other shows on my iPod. Then I had a few books. So if you cycle through an episode of Gotham, then you read about Lenin, then you watch Impractical Jokers, then you read about the League of Regrettable Superheroes, then you go back to Gotham. By doing that, the time goes very quickly. It's easy for me that I can sleep on a plane. I gave up Better Call Saul. It's easy for me to sleep on a plane, so that wasn't hard at all. I really like Turkish Air. The it was comfortable and so on and so forth. Some highlights of the trip. So it's at this resort in Bodrum, which is like a resort town. It's very Western. It was amazing. There were all these like street dogs who were all big. There were no small ones. They were like German Shepherd sized, and I think they all had German Shepherd blood because they had that black muzzle. They were it was exactly what Caesar Milan said about being a calm, submissive state. Like very sweet, friendly. It was really fun. What were some highlights? Okay, so I told the story of getting the sponge. They also have this weird kind of ice cream there. It's more like a sorbet, but it has like gum in it. So it's kind of very tacky. And they have this gigantic bazaar there. And as we're walking around, they have different stands with ice cream, and one had this bubblegum flavor, which I tried. And I was like, yeah, it's all right. And then I had it in my head that, like, I have to have it. So I made everyone, didn't have anything to do. We all walked for like half an hour finding this one stand with the bubblegum sorbet, and it was good. I took a picture. It's not as good as Baskin Robbins pink bubblegum ice cream, but so on and so forth. What else could I talk? Oh, so let me show you. There's a new Hans-Hermann Hoppe book, and I looked it up, and there's no traces of it online. So this is breaking news. Give me literally 20 seconds. I'm going to get a book and show it to you all. I should have thought of that before I started sitting down for this live stream. All right, here's the book. So this is from Mises, and Mises, all their stuff is usually for free on their website because they don't believe in IP. Am I holding it correctly? I think I should be holding it correctly. Let me see. I know there's a little delay. It's short, like me. Sorry, I have to hold it up more. And the introduction's by Sean Gabb, who wrote Radical Coup, The Case for Reaction, which I went to get, but it turns out it's just a collection of his... Oh, thank you! I'm glad you enjoyed the book. It's just a collection of his essays. This book is just a collection of his speeches. Oh, and it's let me read from the introduction. The writings collected in this book are mostly addresses given in Bodrum to the Property and Freedom Society. So, okay, these were just talks he'd given, and there's 4 chapters in here: a realistic libertarianism, number 1; on democracy, decivilization, and the quest for new counterculture; libertarianism and the alt-right; and coming of age with Murray, which was Hans-Hermann Hoppe's talk from when he was in New York with Mises. So that's that. You could see that. And this is, of course, the one I got signed to fuck with Tom Woods, because Tom Woods got pissed that Hoppe did my show and not his. Yeah, it's not on the Mises website yet. So, yeah. I talked to North Korea. I only had half an hour, so I fucked up the speech. I did not time it correctly, just like I haven't timed correctly my debate with Tom Woods. I totally blew it. It was funny. Hoppe did not want to do the interview, and Kinsella kind of made him, and he's like, okay, well, Let me see the footage first, because he thought it was a setup or something. Um, so, and you know, we actually I had him laughing and goofing around, so that was a lot of fun. His speech was basically advocating for us to return to the Middle Ages. So you know that's like the whole big knock about the right. It's like, oh, you just want to take us back to the 1950s. No, no, no. He's talking about the Middle Ages. So it was like really weird kind of to see. And he was also basically advocating, I'm paraphrasing, that we should have a society based around the Ten Commandments. So it was there was a lot of stuff he said that I kind of disagreed with, but I'm sure the video will be up and everyone can judge for themselves. He had half of his talk was dissecting Steven Pinker and eviscerating what he called Pinker's Whig view of history, that things are getting better all the time. And Hoppe was like saying, you know, no, it's not, and it was better when it was like decentralized states, like in the so-called Dark Ages, Middle Ages. Um, so that was intriguing. Sean Gabb did the intro for this book, and he wrote. I went to get his book, but it's just a collection of essays. I thought it was going to be a kind of a thesis, so I did not read that. And I finished this book on Lenin, which was just really, really good. What else happened on the trip that was of interest? It was really funny. So when I was hanging out, yeah, the Dark Enlightenment perspective. Yeah, it's too cynical for my, and that's cynical, but it's just like I don't buy that argument at all. What else can I talk about on my trip? It's all kind of running together. They had all the one of my favorite things that I like to do when I go to another country is to go to the supermarkets and look at the weird brands. This is still a holdover from when I was a kid with all the soap. So they had this gum which was apparently clove flavored, and it tasted literally like chewing plastic. Literally, it was insane. So that's something. There was a lot. There wasn't as much like kebab as I'd hoped for, because I thought I'd be eating like doner every day, just getting gorged. Um, so that was kind of fun to see. God, I hate having facial hair. It just feels itchy and gross. What else did I want to talk about on this trip? Oh God, so this is a funny story. So we went on this boat. The last day of it's a boat trip. All five of us, there's five different boats, and I got on the Bad Boys boat with Kinsella, and everyone's just getting super, super drunk. And we're sitting down, and this one guy talking, and he sits me down, and he's from Holland, I believe. Joy and I are watching. Thanks now. I don't have to tell her what it was like. Too tired. Just got back. This is a great recap. Oh, that's Greg. He was there also, and he got lost because he was buying a sponge. And I hope you got yours back through customs, Greg. Getting that sponge through customs, I was really fucking scared, because it literally was half of my suitcase was this giant fucking sponge. Um, so, I completely have lost my. Yeah, if I get $1,000, I'll grow a beard. Sure, that's easy to do. Okay, good, Greg, good to hear. Um, oh, this is my other big news. This is my other big news. So today is Yom Kippur. It's the most holy day for Jews. Uh, I got a text from my buddy who I haven't seen in quite a long time, Matt Hughes. As some of you know, he got hit by a train. He was in a coma, almost died. I'm going to have lunch with him tomorrow. I cannot fucking wait. I am so excited. He's such a great guy. It's going to be really, really, really awesome. So I'm gonna get very emotional, because he almost died. You know, by all accounts he should have died. He got hit by a fucking train. So yeah, that's gonna be tomorrow. It's gonna be a busy day tomorrow. Yeah, he was GSP4. It's yeah. Beard fund. I don't think we're gonna hit a 1K, but I appreciate. It's weird. Why is it $4.99? Is that like a setting? It's just weird that it would do that. Um, yeah. So if anyone has questions for Matt, I'll be glad to ask him, I guess. I'm going to get him hopefully on an episode of You're Welcome at some point. I have to go visit his family too. I'm just really close with them. They're just really, really awesome people. Have made my life profoundly better. I'm not getting Elvis chops. $200 is for the jeans. Tom is keeping his beard. It was so. I hope you guys enjoyed. Oh my God. I hope you guys enjoyed me trolling Tom overseas. So if you didn't see Nightshade yesterday, I put up the picture of me talking to Hoppe, which I didn't believe was going to happen, because basically we were trying to find a time to do it, and Cancel's like, you could do it after, the events for the day, and Hoppe's like, yeah, and then he's like, Hans, let's do it now, and Hans like, and I'm like, fuck, he's gonna not do it, and we got him, he did it, and I was like, this is, so I put the picture up, I was very excited, and Tom's like, in his private listeners group, someone at the organization was there, and he put up like, that bastard Michael Malice, and I'm like, all right, you fucker, and I went to Hoppe, and I'm like, listen, we gotta make Tom send him up, because he's called me a bastard because I interviewed you. He goes, you have to sign this to Michael. I like you better than Tom. He's like, oh, and he fucking did it. So that's something I'm gonna treasure forever. And then the thing was, with dealing with a lot of these types, they do have great sense of humor about trolling. So there's a guy, Paul, there, from Estonia, and I'm like, do you have Photoshop on your laptop? He had his laptop open while he was listening to a talk, and he's like, I'm like, can you crop out this parenthetical where Hans said, I like you better than Tom, at least until Tom comes here? And he went to town. He did it perfectly. And then I put that up, and Tom's like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah. So it was really fun. I'm like, Tom, who are you starting with? I'm going to slam you into the wall every single time. By the way, Tom Woods has agreed to be on this live stream at a point in the future. Oh, okay. We got $20 for the beard fund. Okay. I feel like Jerry's kids, or like, what's I call that? Locks of Love. If you raise $1,000, he'll have facial hair. Jeff Dice was there. He's really fun. Really good to talk to him. Okay, so we're on the boat, and I'm talking to a guy from Belgium. And this is if he's watching this, I'm sorry. I'm going to be a little bit glib. And he goes, hey, I didn't like your talk. You talked too fast, and you didn't have enough of yourself in it. It was too, fact-based. And I said, well, first he said he didn't like it because I went too fast. I'm like, well, it's very hard to get everything in 30 minutes. So that's a fair criticism. And then he goes, well, you should have put like more of yourself in your emotion. And I go, well, something I hate is how, if someone, this typical Facebook leftist story, someone goes to Africa and their life changes forever and it's all about them. It's like, no. When it comes to North Korea, I don't matter. And this is very clearly the case. The only thing that ever matters is the plight of the North Korean people. The end. So anytime I insert myself, it's only as a means to further elucidating what they're going through and why is of interest. But how it affected me is very, 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 very secondary to what's going on in North Korea. And then he goes, you seem to be upset that people don't care about North Korea. I'm like, no, I'm not upset. No one has to care. I don't blame them for not caring. On the one hand, they can't. I think it makes sense because you're powerless. Nothing you could do. The people who I am upset about are like libertarians who aren't that interested in it, because this is the prime example of a government being out of control. Although even in that case, I don't blame them necessarily, but especially the press, who really do have an obligation to be honest about it and report it fairly and talk about it and not have it be like, oh my God, isn't Kim Jong-un's sister so sassy, as opposed to, isn't Kim Jong-un's sister, pure evil. And then he goes, well, and I go, and he goes like, why North Korea? And I talk about, because it's the worst place on earth, and I go, the people have it worse than anyone. And he goes, best thing on your bucket list. I don't know what you mean by best. Do you mean to buy, to acquire, or to do? So follow up with that question. I'll be glad to answer it. So, and I go, it's the worst place. He goes, no. Someone in my village has it worse than the people in North Korea. Like, basically, they're being kept prisoner by their family. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, well, you don't seem to care about that. I'm like, well, I don't know anything about that at all. It's just, you're giving me, I don't even know this person's gender. And he's like, oh, well, if you don't care about that, I don't care about North Korea. And I'm like, okay, that's perfectly fine. Like, you're not have any, there's no impetus for you to care about North Korea. That's perfectly fine. It doesn't matter. And he's just basically like, oh, well, what, you don't believe me? This person's living in like hell? I go, I do believe you. I just don't. I can't emotion like as we're talking right now. Somewhere on Earth is dying. I can't have any emotional. Adam Smith even talked about this. I can't have any emotional connection to it. It's theoretical to me. And he goes, well, my good friend is dying right now, and it was getting heated needlessly, and it was uh and then he says, yeah, well, my friend's dying right now. Do you care about that? And then what's the difference between Cholima and Juche? Have you not read the book? Cholima is the spirit of speed. It's a Pegasus. And it was the Cholima movement, which is a Stankovite movement they ripped up from Russia. Juche is the Juche idea, which is by Koreans and for Koreans. They're completely different stuff. And then he starts crying. And I'm like, oh, shit. And he's like, oh, yeah, my friend's dying. And he's like, I'm sorry. You know, I didn't have enough sleep. And I felt really, really bad. And I had all these punchlines in my head, which I didn't say, but it's like, and it wasn't even that awkward because I felt horrible for him. I mean, the powerlessness when a good friend of yours is dying is awful, but it was just so weird to go from like heated, like cerebral, quite a cerebral, like philosophical conversations to like, oh, P.S. my friend's dying. Thank you, Daniel. Beard Fund. And then he's like, what do you do when someone's crying? It's just like, it was just like a weird moment, and I do feel bad, and it was just weird for someone to go from aggressive to like tears. It's also, he's like, and you seemed angry before, and I was angry because I loathe what's my slogan? My brain is so shot still. Unsolicited advice is never friendly. So I really don't like unsolicited advice from strangers. A lot of times I frequently do solicit feedback about specific things, but when people come up to me and are like, don't, do this, like, I don't, not interested in your opinion. So that was a funny moment. There was a lot of things that were very politically incorrect on this boat, and I was taking notes, and I think they were, beautiful. Thank you, Eric. They were scared that I was gonna kind of out them, and I'm like, "Are you insane? Like, I'm gonna fuck with people. I'm the Soviet-born guy who wrote about North Korea. I know about paranoia and how people's lives are ruined for nothing. Look at that girl who did that joke on the flight to Africa. She's like, haha, I'm white. I'm not gonna get AIDS, and her life's still ruined. So please, dollars, the No Shave Club. Holy shit, this is the funniest and dumbest idea. I love you guys. That's so fucking fun. So yeah. So, and getting back was so like leaving the hotel at 9, getting to the airport at 9:30, flight at 11:30, 6-hour layover, 11-hour flight, taxi to my house, wash my hair and change my clothes, go to You're Welcome, go take a cab to lunch, train home, change, go to Nightshade. It was, thanks Cody. It was quite an adventure, and I'm still fucking disoriented. Completely disoriented about it. God, I can't wait to talk to Matt tomorrow. He's bringing his daughter, Hannah, and the way Matt and I became friends was they had originally put me up in a hotel when I was working the book, and then Audra, his wife, moved me into the house because she saw I was interesting, if not normal. And then Matt's like, hey, you want to see a happy girl? And he was giving his daughter a bath. And that was the moment where he was like, all right, we're cool. So I remember her Hannah as a baby, and now she's all grown up. So it's going to be interesting. Bearded anarchists tend to be better than shaved anarchists. Who are some... Murray Rothbard's is shaven. And Max Stirner is unshaven. You guys are crazy. What the fuck? I'm gonna have to do it now if I get enough cash. You could write Beard Fund and then actually ask a question. You're like throwing money. You know what I mean? Like, don't make me be a Jewish grandma. Throw away Tom's Christmas razor. No, I'll give it to somebody or something. Greg asked me for one of my soaps, my Pan Am soaps, which I was glad to, is it $40? I was glad to send to him. Would you welcome robots with human level intelligence to society? I would prefer them. Is the sponge okay? The sponge is okay. Okay, here's something else. I have something called IAs and ICs, imaginary arguments and imaginary conversations. I have them all the time. And I thought I was a lunatic until I met Matt, and Matt has had imaginary fights. He would work through fights in his head, which is not surprising. Also, the can mentions you 3 times. Anarchists, hipsters, and monsters. Can confirm. Matt, now that you're back, are you going to see Norm Has a Show? Yes, I downloaded all the episodes, and I literally just started watching the Judge Judy episode right before this godforsaken live stream. 300 people here. Wow. Lysander Spooner and Benjamin Tucker beards. Lysander Spooner is very mixed because he's very big on jury nullification. And if you think about how jury nullification would work in America, it has as many negatives as it has pluses. What happens if you have certain communities and they don't want to indict for whatever? It could be very, very bad. Benjamin Tucker is legit, of course. He's the best anarchist Tucker there is. I don't know if Thoreau is a anarchist per se. I know he's in that direction. Anyway, where was I? I'm completely lost. I am completely lost. Yeah, for cops, great point. That's exactly right. The cops won't get indicted. What the fuck was I talking about? Before you all interrupted me with money. This is the secret to a Jew's heart. Megan, you can go back and watch it later. It was Super Chat Rebucket List said to do. Oh, to do. Okay, so the thing to do by far would be deep sea. Going into a submersible to deep sea. That would be my biggest one, I would say. How about where I would want to go? It's Eritrea, but that's going to happen. I talked about Cody at the beginning, and I talk about a Nightshade, so there's a lot to talk. I texted him too. I haven't gotten a text back, but I don't have my phone near me. Money, the secret. You were talking about beards. I was? Okay. $79 since 1K. Jesus. I don't think Cody has said anything publicly. I think he's on the lam in fucking Thailand. So it's not Nightshade like the tomato. But why are you here? You guys are so nice. You guys are so nice. I feel like I'm on Cash Cab. Imaginary arguments. Thank you. So I had a huge IA with I was thinking someone was going to take the sponge and mess with it, or they would think it's funny. And just when I walked into the studio today, the sponge was already on the desk, which was cool, but someone had stuck a pencil in it, and I was worried they were puncturing new holes in it, but they were very respectful. They stuck the pencil in a hole that already existed in the sponge. And I was imagining having to talk to Keith, and that people would tear it apart or draw on it. So I am very glad that has not happened. Well, it's only been a day, but still, it's I'm glad people are being respectful of my stuff. That reminds me of Matt. When I first started working with him, and I went to the military training camp to hang out with him, Tim Sylvia, and a few other guys, I was never ever 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 worried that it was going to get violent or aggressive. I knew there was no possibility of that. I was worried there were going to be noogies. Like, that is what I thought would be, and there was none. It was totally cool, totally respectful, and I really, it was very much life-changing to be there at that time. Beard Fun. What are some of your favorite foods? Sushi, pink bubblegum ice cream, pickled garlic, Monster. What else do I really like? A good steak, which is a lot harder to find than you think. What else do I like? Sushi's my go-to. The sponge will be a guest in hot water. Well, it's in warm water. It's tropical. What else foods do I like? Candy. I love candy. I don't love chocolate. I like chocolate. Anything proteiny. I hate things that are saucy. I hate things that are spicy. I guess that's me being a cannibal in that case. Sponge. I don't get it, Cody. What do you think I'm sipping, stupid? I'm always sipping the same thing. It's Monster. So, and all I have left to do with the... I'm so stupid. Let me talk about steaks. I only had steaks as a kid, and I never had them till I was an adult, right? I hate fatty food. I hate the texture. Thanks, peace and liberty. I hate the texture. I also don't digest fatty food well. What do you like best about yourself? I would say my accomplishments. Um, uh, so I don't have steak since I'm like 10. Then on book tour with Matt, I was with him the whole time. We had the credit card for Simon Schuster, so we're going to steakhouses every night. Thanks, Wesley. And since I hadn't eaten steaks since I was a kid, I was ordering them well done, right? And I was getting filet mignons well done. They were like, "Can we is butter flying okay?" I said, "Sure," because I thought in my head the alternative to a well done steak is like a bloody steak, and like you're eating cold blood. Then I tried it like medium and medium rare. I'm like, oh, I was totally ordering it completely wrong, and I'm like, okay, good. So, I learned how to eat steak correctly. So it all worked out in the end, but it was funny because I'm on this tour at these great steakhouses eating well done filet mignons. It was so stupid. But this is how we learn things, I guess. So, yeah, that was such a fun book tour. That more beard fun. How do you maintain your diet regimen when you travel? It's not a diet. Diets are for women. Regimen is for men. It has the word men in it. I was very worried about my macros when I was in overseas because of my eating disorder. I brought some protein powder with me. Yes, I did. And I tried to keep the food high protein as much as I could. And it you don't use. I think ketchup might be my favorite food. Like I can't tell you how much I love ketchup. I would put it in my toothpaste if I could. So yeah, I do still put ketchup on steak. Although what I like is sometimes I like it when they have those coarse salt. That's really fun. So I don't keto. No. Keto is not sustainable in my opinion. I have a complete eating disorder. It's not even a question. Um, oh God, this is another one. Okay, this is another great story from Turkey. There was a guy I was talking to. I forget his steak fund. Well, is this a separate fund from the beard fund? Did you feel influenced by Hoppe when you all talked? Are you going to name the sponge? We have a name I can't tell you. It's an inside joke, and I'm not trying to be. It would hurt people's feelings. Did you feel influenced by Hoppe when you all talked, and if so, how? I didn't feel influenced by him when we talked at all. Um, yeah, I mean, the questions, I tried to keep it light because he was like, I don't want any, deep discussion of libertarianism. I'm like, no. When I do interviews, especially with someone like that, I want to humanize them as much as possible and bring out the goofy side. That's like my favorite things. Uh, so that really did happen, talking about what it's like for him to be a dad, his experience when he had a year on like judicial review, or not judicial review, like catch-up fund. Uh, um, uh, Academic review when he had a problem with the University of Las Vegas. There was a year where it looked like they were trying to fire him and railroad him, talking about things like that. So I try to keep, that's my approach with interviews. When someone is so cerebral and so much focused on ideas, you don't need my show to be the one to learn about his ideas. There's no shortage of places. However, this is going to be the one place you could have Hans-Hermann Hoppe telling jokes and talking about fatherhood and being a goof. So, yeah, so that was basically the focus there with Hopper. In general, this Owen show is going to be sick. This Owen show is going to be sick. I already know what I'm going to talk to him about. It's going to get intense in a good way. Owen and I are close. A lot of mutual respect. So it's going to be. So let me tell you the story. What was the point of that Matt Welch and Tom Woods episode? If what's your opinion of losing the race? Superb. Yes, Drew, I did discuss Cody, and I also discussed it on Nightshade tonight at length. That's where you want to go to see everything about it. What was the point? That's literally the first person who didn't. Oh, that's so weird. Favorite Simpsons quote. Favorite Simpsons quote. Well, I'll tell you one that was from the trip. I hope he doesn't get embarrassed. I was talking to Kinsella, and he had a Facebook post where Trump was saying that all these souls died on 9/11. And how can you say souls died? Because soul is immortal and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, oh my God, this is pure autism. So there's a great Simpsons moment where Homer is. I don't have a favorite one off the top of my head. There was a great Simpsons moment where Homer was asked to judge like the film festival, and he turns to Marge and goes, "Marge, do you think I'm dumb?" And she goes, "No." And he goes, "All right, good night." He goes, "Wait a minute, why'd you pause when you asked if I was dumb?" And she goes, "No reason." And he goes, "Okay, good night." He goes, "Wait a minute, why'd you pause when you said no reason?" So I'm talking to Kinsella. We're walking in Bodrum, and he goes, "Do you think I'm on the spectrum?" And I go, "No." And he goes, "Why'd you pause?" And I go, "No reason." It was very, very cute. That was the critic. Yeah, that was the episode where it crosses over with the critic. Um, yeah. Oh God, that was a lot of. What's my favorite Simpsons episode quote? There's so many that I quote all the time. And favorite, I really want to give this a good answer. Favorite quote, because a lot of those quotes like stay with you, uh, and they're actually kind of profound. I don't know, and that's a good one also. When he goes to the post office, he goes, "Hello, my name is Mr. Burns. I believe you have a letter for me." Okay, Mr. Burns, what's your first name? I don't know. Great idea, Bart. Um, yeah. So I would like to buy your rock. I don't know what you mean by my rock. Oh yeah, yeah, the tiger. Yeah. Um. mm, What? Oh, so okay. So I'm there, and I try to be friendly, talk to everyone, and uh, this guy comes up, talks to me. I'll tell you. I let me see. I have his name. I'm not going to tell you his name. Older guy in his 50s. Um, and he goes, "We're talking about Trump," and he says he thinks that the China's going to collapse and the Chinese Communist Party is going to be destroyed, which is I don't think it's likely, but it's not an insane prediction. And I go, "Well, don't you think if that happens, the U.S. would be scapegoated by the Communist Party? And in America, most certainly, Trump would be scapegoated for this. Regardless of what happens, he's going to be the scapegoat." And he's like, "No, um, Trump's people, they're not going to be able to pin it on Trump." And I go, "Well, they're pinning a lot of shit on him already, quite successfully." He goes, "Well, he won the election. ANCAP versus objectivism, compatible. Yes, Galt's Gulch was an anarchist society, a private anarchist society, despite what Rand said to the contrary. Well, not compatible if you want to be pedantic, because pedantically, objectivism is not anarchist. But I mean, the ideas I think are certainly compatible. So Randism and anarcho-capitalism are compatible, to be totally precise. So, uh, and he goes, "Well," I go, "Well, they're pinning a lot of stuff on Trump. His approval rating is low given how good the economy's doing." And he goes, "Well, how do you know that?" And I go, "Well, all the polls are saying the same thing." He goes, "Well, Rasmussen," I go, "that was one poll that had him at 50, just one." And then he starts like, "Well, you're going by data and you're being an empiricist, and therefore you're not a real Austrian because the Austrians go by logic and blah, 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 blah." And he starts going off. And I go, "Okay, fine. I'm a Friedmanite. Okay, I'm from the Chicago school. What contrary data do you have to this?" He goes, "Well, I just have a sense." He goes, "You're operating from faith." "Well, I have a sense." I go, "Wait, so I have data and that's faith, but you have a sense and we should go by that?" And he's like, "Yes." He goes, he's like, "I think people are waking up." And I go, he's like, that they're being bamboozled. I go, "Are you telling?" And we went on and on. It was really, really funny. And we went on and on. I asked him, I go, uh, "Are you saying that, for example, the median American thinks that TARP, the bank bailout, was a mistake?" And he goes, "Yes." I'm like, "Okay." Then later he starts getting angry because when I was talking about Beard Fund, anyone keeping count, "What's your opinion of surrealism and Dadaism?" Not a fan, particularly of either. I am a fan of, I'm going to be a bit of a heretic. I'm a much bigger fan of Magritte, who's kind of become a bougie pleb artist that you find at the mall, because I like it that it had an idea of it much more than Salvador Dali. So I'm the futurist guy. The Italian futurists are where it's at for me. Um, So then later I was giving my talk about North Korea and I mentioned we, referring to the Americans, right? And he's like, you shouldn't say we, you should say I. And I go, oh, you're only saying that because you're Canadian. He's like, no, I'm not. I blah, blah, blah. And I go, well, where do you pay taxes? And he's like, wherever they make me. And I go, where do you reside? He's like, well, both. I go, oh, so you're Canadian. He's like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, sitting there, I'm like, he wasn't being angry. He was being, conversational. And I go, you're lecturing me. I'm thinking to myself, you're lecturing me on the correct pronoun to use. Like at this Hans Hoppe event. It was very, very funny. And then later there was a third thing where he was getting all bent out of shape. So it was I was like, holy shit. Like it's fun talking to, like, a lot of times people don't have outlets to talk about these ideas. And when they do, no, you don't have to send money to get your questions answered. You're just going to get a hide user on this channel. Okay. Beard Fun thought about having Mark Pellegrino as a guest. I have asked him. We follow each other. I love him. Possible countries that will go full ANCAP in the future. I don't think it would work like that. I think it would have to be breakaway areas. Or it'll be a function of technology rendering the nation state an impossibility. Pellegrino is an objectivist. He's very big on Rand. And, oh, by the way, we did reach out to Dave Rubin to see if me and Rucka can debate on his show. This is okay. This is great stuff. Do you have a stereo system or just listen in your computer? I just listen on my computer. So that's the other thing. Like it's a lot of times I don't know if I feel bad where people don't have an outlet to discuss. It hasn't happened yet. We don't know if it's gonna happen. A lot of people have an outlet to discuss these ideas. And like I've had people come up to me and try to explain why the income tax should be abolished, and it's like, who are you talking to? It's so weird. Just because I missed you or beard. Aw, that's very sweet, Drew. That is very, very sweet. Okay. Did you see the SpaceX press conference with the guy who first brought the ticket around the moon on BFR? I did not, and I don't know what BFR is. At all. By the way, Goldinger, I like Nightshade when you don't read articles beforehand. Yeah, it's really fun for me when I'm reading a horrible article and I'm getting genuinely enraged as I read it. Oh, big fucking rocket, haha. Yeah, that is a lot. I usually don't read the articles beforehand, but a lot of times I'll know the information. Okay, I got it, big fucking rocket. I get it. Okay, yeah. That is true, I am dumb. And here you are, listening to a dumb guy getting paid to grow a beard. So what does that make you? Yeah, that CNBC article was, oof. I looked up the guy who owns like 1,000 Twitter followers, so he's some kid. Yeah. By the way, I was at when I was on Dave Rubin, rockets are neat. Thank you. I agree with rockets are neat. I was at Dave Rubin's house, and he had a Golden Girl stuff on his wall, and someone has autographed photos to himself of all 4 Golden Girls, and I wonder who that is. So yeah, so that was I got to show him up in that regard. He's a real fun guy. Dumb guy fund. I know it's hard. Dumb babies need special attention. They do need special attention. God, it's so good. Please have Catherine Bernard on the show. She's the lawyer that's been using nullification to get people out of drug charges. Hey, Megan. I don't know when I'm so booked on the show, and it's getting easier to book people. It's more fun. So it's weird. The shows where the people aren't a big name have a lot less viewers. Like it's an order of magnitude. So, yeah. So that's a problem. Let me look her up. Beard Fun Part 2. Anyone have a running total? Let me look her up, Catherine Bernard. I do appreciate the guest suggestions. I'm not going to lie. Catherine Bernard. Let's see. She's in Georgia. Yeah, she doesn't have a big... Oh, she follows me already. By the way, confession. A lot of times now it's happening on Twitter where I'll see someone retweet something and I just go in to kind of clown and eviscerate the person, and it turns out that they follow me and I don't do it. So, yeah. You're annoying me. You're getting in timeout. Uh, oh, it's not. I don't want timeout. I'm sorry. I wanna mute this guy. If you want to insult me, you're gonna have to put money for it. Duh. Make it worth my while. Wait, what? This? When is Camille Paglia getting booked? Is it in the works? That's my ultimate get. I'm sure I can get her because I've corresponded with her. I have to wait until we have a mobile rig because I'm gonna have to go to Philly. That is going to be for Keepa. I'll get a yeah. Camille Paglia. That's really funny. 330 people watching this. Okay, what else can I tell you about my trip? Oh, the other thing is I'm getting smoky beer on Friday. Let me show you the weird candy I brought back from Turkey. Give me 20 seconds. I'm not a mollycoddle. Fuck you. Talk amongst yourselves. All right, here we are. So here's the weird brands I brought back from Turkey. First of all, there's this, which is their version of Bubblicious. It's yellow instead of pink. I'm not wearing pants. That's correct. Book comes out in May. So it was also tasted like a mix of cheap bubblegum and strawberry banana. It was weird. It vacillated between the two. I hope you guys can see this. I can never tell where to hold it up. I actually lowered my head instead of moving the Bubblicious. That is so stupid. Then I got Then I got this. This is the one that tasted like it's supposed to be clove. This is the one that tastes like plastic. But my face is big, so I can't figure out where it is. Then this is gum that's only for men. So I had to show them ID to prove my gender. It's cinnamon flavored. And then that's it. All right. So that is that. Have you ever been summoned to jury duty? Ooh, I was in grand jury duty, and I'm not allowed to talk about it legally, a holy terror. It got really bad. So the smoked beer is, they smoke the barley first. So, yeah, my nose is fine. Try Norwegian. Do people like blackjack gum? I don't know. I wish I could talk about it. If you go back and look through my Twitter, you'll see me tweeting a bit. I was on grand jury, so there's a lot of trials. If you go back, would you sentence someone to prison if you knew for a fact they murdered someone? Of course. It's not even a question. If you look at my tweets from that time, you'll see that there's a lot of shit from that I could get away with. It was really, really fun. Yeah, that was... I didn't drink anything in Turkey. I don't drink. Any opinion on Cody Wilson skipping the country? Yeah, I texted him. I talk about it on Nightshade tonight. I'm concerned for him. I asked him about, if you go to my Facebook, it's queued up to exactly the minute I asked him about this possibility earlier. the idea that like, look, you're gonna go to hooker, I don't care. He obviously thought she was 18. She was 16, and they're charging him with like assault on a child, which sounds so different from what actually happened. So yeah, he's in Thailand now. So yeah, it's pretty serious. Did you get one of those Turkish haircuts? I did not get a Turkish haircut at all, as you can tell. My hair looks like shit. Um, yeah, they were gonna. When I got called for jury duty, I said to the guy who was picking and dismissing people, I said, um, "Oh, he's in Taiwan? I thought it was Thailand." I saw an article that's. Let me just double check this. I could have sworn the article said Thailand. If he's in Taiwan, okay, then I'll tell him to hook up with Freddie Lim. I did not have Turkish delight. Uh, who this? Yeah. So thank you for the clarification. Huh. Wow. Then he's really gonna be on the lam. Jesus. Uh, this one is also annoying. Um, yeah, I don't like Turkish delight. There was an article about it from some website that discusses why Turkish delight was a thing, and it was a thing because like they didn't have candy at the time in Britain, and it's not good at all. Oof. Let me look this up right now. Oh my God. Hold on. I'll tell you exactly where okay, sent. Dun. Taipei. Holy shit. In my brain, it went to Thailand for obvious reasons. Because there's this guy George Lehman who's this big power lifter, and he's went to live to Thailand now. Wow. They really got him. They really got him. I don't think he's gonna come back. Oh, so anyway, I had jury duty selection, and I go up to them and I go, "I'm an anarchist, and I won't vote to indict anyone." Because how grand jury? Happy birthday! Yeah, sure. Happy birthday, Vina. Hope you're having a good one, but not too good, for it'll be your last. Um. Uh. I go up to them and I say, "Hey, I'm an anarchist, and I won't vote to indict anyone out of principle." And they said, "Well, that's like whatever asshole perspective, but you're on the jury." So how grand jury duty works is you're there for a couple of weeks, and they have a bunch of cases, and the DA just tries to get indictments. You're not. You're just saying, is there enough information here to get this person to be charged, as opposed to finding guilt or innocence. And let me tell you, if you're an anarchist on a grand jury, it is very easy to persuade them to dismiss nonviolent drug charges. Especially if all you have to say is, do you want to ruin this person's life? Um, uh, this, and talk about jury nullification, talk about how they refused to indict for slavery stuff back in the day. This is part of American history. And once people have that space to vote no, even if there's evidence and if not proof that the person had drugs, the DA can't do shit. They get very pissed. Good. And you're saving a life. So definitely, if you're stuck on grand jury duty, you can save people's lives. So yeah, it was a interesting experience. The last thing I have to do with the book on the new right is to do all the footnotes, which is going to be a fucking pain to do. There's 71 footnotes in the book. Yeah. I can't believe it's coming out. It's going to be really, really... I talk about Cody in the book, too. This is crazy shit. This is crazy, crazy shit. And I've been talking for almost an hour. I'm reading another book about... I just picked up about Hamilton's wife, Eliza Hamilton, and I'm like 20% of the way in, and I do not like it at all. At all, at all, at all. Yeah, there's an index that they're putting it together. St. Martin's is, which is very cool. I also think $500 is a lot to pay for a hooker. I've never gotten a hooker. I would have no shame about getting a hooker, but that seems like a lot of money. Roger Stone, and you're welcome. Oh my God, that's a no-brainer. I'm gonna get Gorkon first. I'm sure I've met Roger too. I used to intern for his wife, the summer of '97 for a couple months, and she's in Ego and Hubris, his ex-wife, Ann Stone. Um, yeah, as far as leftists, I would like to get Glenn. I'd love to get Glenn Greenwald, of course. Michael Tracy's another big one I would love to get. Those are the big ones. Yeah. I tried watching the Roger Stone documentary. I couldn't get into it at all. But I do recommend that documentary that I discussed on You're Welcome this week, which is called The Creepy Line, which is really thought-provoking. How do we get you to watch Mr. Medeker video about Sargon before you have him on? I don't know. I don't know. Like, how long is the video going to be? Let me just see. I'm not trying to have him walk into an ambush. That's not how I do it. Grooming accusation? Okay. There's a lot of videos here. I don't know which one to watch. Why is Taiwan worse for Cody than Thailand? Also extradition. I don't know. I don't know anything about why Taiwan would be worse. It sounds like there was no extradition. That people are saying this in the chat room. And it's an hour long. I've heard of Medeker, and I watched him do one video dissecting. Who was it? It was really funny, and he went on at length, just tearing the person apart, and he had receipts. Raymondo's ill and doesn't travel, and he's too ill to even do Skype. I have invited him on already. Stephen Miller was on You're Welcome when it was on Gas. He's ready to go on Compound. He's ready to go again whenever I asked him to. So he will be one of my few returning guests. Adore him. No, which Medeker video did I watch? Fuck. It wasn't the, I don't remember. Who was he dissecting? Fuck. Stephen Miller's not a National Review bootlicker. The guy's, he has sick burns on the reg on Twitter. He's amazing. And very, rolls with the punches. I would love to get the good Stephen Miller. That would be amazing. It's still on Compound in the archive, so you can go find it. Yeah, I would get Styx. I don't know who Styx is. I would have to ask you guys to give me background on him for what to ask. He called himself a radical centrist, really? Oh, God, no, please, really? No. Oh, God. Tonight on Nightshade, we discussed the Kavanaugh situation and Stormy Daniels and Cody Wilson. I don't think it's framed, but it doesn't seem to be a frame up. Landau was I don't think Lou Rockwell or David Gordon are in a better position than me to discuss his fascism on the left or right at all. There's nothing to. That's semantic anyway. So it's John McWhorter is almost impossible to get. By the way, I adore him, but I'm gonna have to get a bigger a platform first, which is in the process of happening, obviously. Yeah. Okay. So I guess that is that. I will talk to you guys soon. Enjoy Nightshade in about 86 minutes. Camille had to. I know Camille got him on, and I also know what it took for Camille to get him on. Is my point. So, yeah, it's just funny. Like, yeah, why don't you just get Hillary Clinton on? There's a process here. Last beard fun. In court, do they ask, do you have any beliefs that might? No. They never asked me that. For someone who supports any defenders of liberty, why not vote for Larry Sharpe? Here is my article on why I don't believe in voting. Here you go. I'll put it in here. Yeah, I don't believe in voting at all. Actual Last Beard Fund. I'm not. My time telling isn't fantastic. There's a clock on the screen that I can see. So Paul Joseph Watson. I would love to have him. Paul wouldn't follow me back. So I mean, I'll give you the list of the names I want. I have a file. I have the documents. Let me tell you exactly who. I don't know anything about Larry Sharpe, by the way. Like anything. Okay, Sargon, who's confirmed. I'll add Paul. Don't tweet at them yet because I'm booked for a month. So, Count Dankula, Lenore Skenazy, who's the Free Range Kids, Lucian Greaves from the Temple of Satan. He's doing all that activism against religion. Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch. Dan Soder, I've been putting him off. Sam Hyde is on my list. Naomi Wolf, I want to get on. Primal Polly, who's great. Jonathan Haidt, Camille Paglia, my buddy Dan Radosh, who writes for Daily Show. He's the head writer. The people from Irreverent Warriors. Bronze Age Pervert, I don't think does interviews. Billy Corgan, I can get when the tour wraps up. Julie Borowski, Jack Posobiec. These aren't people who have agreed, but I've interviewed Sam Hyde before, so I don't think it would be hard to get him on again. It just depends how trolly he's going to be. Lenore Skenazy I've met. I know her. Greg Lukianoff, head of Fire. Jonathan Haidt. Did I mention Haidt? I got it. Haidt. Okay, he's there. Marion Smith, as I said, from the Museum of the Victims of Communism, and Paul Joseph Watson. That's my list. So, yeah. Jim, whenever he's in New York, I would get on. So I mean, this is like people have to ask. Jim has an open invite. So how many names is that? It is what? There's also a guy who runs a cool ice cream store in New York. 27 names that's on this list, and someone who makes Brooklyn barbecue. I know Pierre. He's married to my friend. I could never get Pinker. He's way too big of a name for me at this point, or Sam Harris. So those are the names I currently have for. That's plenty of names, and Molyneux would want to get in person. Kennedy would be hard because of you have to go through Fox's second floor. It's this whole thing with their it's a pain in the ass to get her on. I can't ask her directly. Hey, Paul. So Paul was the one I mentioned who photoshopped that picture and made it really. If this is the same, no, it's not the same Paul. Is that the same Paul? No, it's a different Paul. Sorry, Paul. I got you confused with the guy from Bodrum. Yeah, but you're in the supporting listeners group. So, hello. Did I watch Sam Harris Jordan JBP? No, I did not. I've done Gutfeld twice. Who's Adam Curry? Adam Curry. Let's look him up. The Adam Curry from MTV? People always retweet my stuff at him. He's 6'5". Oh, I didn't. Okay, but he's not in New York. Huh. I knew him from MTV. Tommy Robinson's not like a lot of these people. I'd much rather have in person. So, if Adam's such a big deal now, I don't think I'd be able to get him. I so prefer the people to be in person. Who's Justin Murphy? James Woods doesn't follow me back. That's some bullshit. I don't know who Justin Murphy is. All it comes up with is a football player. Crowder, I've never been on. Yeah, have de Blasio on. Have Norm Macdonald on. Nassim Taleb does not follow me back. Okay, 333 watching. I don't know that I'd want to get Milo on because I don't know. I'm not Fox, though. Have you ever experienced anti-Semitism in person? Marginal. Very, very, very marginally. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the beard fund. I don't know what to do with the money. I'm sure I'll find some non-beard use for it. I feel... Oh, my God. This... See, I just clicked on The Guardian, and the headline said, Cody Wilson charged with sexual assault of teen. And legally, that's the case. But that's not technically the case. I've had Dave Smith on already. He was on when it was on Compound Media. I'm going to have Kumi on also when his book comes out. So... that is that. Okay, I will see you guys. Yeah, get Edward Snowden. Get what do you call it? Get Julian Assange on. Mitt Romney debating Dave Smith would be like, I agree. I also agree. I agree. I mean, they would say exactly the same things. Owen Benjamin's going to be on next Tuesday. Relax. Okay? Yeah, get Hitler on. Beard Fund. Dave Rubin, I agree. Yeah, get Kim Jong-un on. Yeah, I'll get Kim Jong-un on. Did you talk about Kavanaugh yet? I talk about it tonight on Nightshade. I don't have particular profoundly interesting insights about it yet. I've been tweeting about it today, though. If you look at my Twitter, you'll see a bunch of tweets about it. Yeah, get Donald Trump's mom. David Friedman. Okay, I'll tell you a David Friedman story. I met him at get Juanita Broderick. Get get Monica Lewinsky. You guys are funny. I was at PorcFest, and David Friedman was there, Milton Friedman's son and Patrick Friedman's dad. And I'm the heir to the Rothschild, motherfuckers. I'm talking to David Friedman, and I used to be in college on Usenet, and there was a group alt.philosophy.objectivism, and he was on. And what amazed me about it, he'd be on it all day. I remember one specifically, and I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit, very close to this. It goes, someone said to him, David, I don't know what that abortion that you have that passes for your brain thinks, but blah, 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 blah. And David just writes back, well, when you say X, I disagree with you, blah, blah, blah. And I asked him, I go, how is it that someone is just being so vituperative and you don't care? He's like, well, that's just not how I think. So it was really interesting. And I asked him about Rand, who obviously was very hard on his dad, who I talk about in the book as well. And he's like, Ayn Rand was something courageous, brilliant, courageous, and wrong. And when she's right, she's right. But when she, is missing parts in her philosophy, gaps in her philosophy, she papers it over with emotion. So he took her very seriously, though. So, yeah, it was fun talking to him because me and my friend had a car because we were staying at the hotel, not staying at a campground. And he's just trudging along also from the hotel with this big backpack on. So we gave him a lift. Rosewalder Lane, guess who's got an autographed copy of the hardcover with dust jacket of Discovery of Freedom? That's right. Me. I would love to do Rogan again, by the way, when the book comes out. If not before then, because the book's out in May, so I'm sure 8 months apart is fine. The Sponge has a name. Zora Neale Hurston. Oh, I love her. I love her. Get Alex. I asked Alex to interview him for the book, and because of the legal stuff, he said no, or his people said no. So yeah. Okay, now I'm definitely signing off. I'm gonna go to the gym finally. I will talk to you all soon, and I hope this was as fun for you as it was for me.